Alright. What's up, everyone? Let's make sure everything's working here. Oh, I'm alright, Josh. Thanks for asking, man. I'm alright. Just sort of, was sort of unexpected. Well, I don't know. It was unexpected and expected. Yeah, just some not great news regarding a family member, but yeah, I'm alright, man. We're all. I was just chilling with my family. We're all doing okay. All right, what was I about to do? What's up, Archimedes? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good time for your first stream here. So, all right, let me. Hold on. All right. Let me notify. Let me go back to the other YouTube. Oh yeah. No, I feel you, man. Yeah, no, it's. I don't feel a need to explain. It's just that, just kind of explain what's going on. I don't like. I'm very private as far as what I'm very private with my personal details. I don't show my face or got my name or anything, but I'm pretty open when it comes to what actually goes on in my life. So I'm fine with that. All right. So for the first half of the stream, we're going to be playing What Remains of Edith Finch. It's a story game, but it's pretty short. It takes about 2 hours. So that'll be the first half, and then we're going to switch over to Ghost of Tsushima, which is what we've been playing for a while now. It's our big playthrough right now. All right. All right, we're gonna get started in a second. I just want to make sure everything's good. But some exciting news. I did finish. Well, I'm kind of doing some finishing touches to a script to my new video, so I should get it done recording by tomorrow, and hopefully, I don't think it'll take too long to edit, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get the new video out within. Well, I want to have it unlisted on YouTube for a while. Hello, sweetie. I'm going to have it unlisted on YouTube for a while, so hopefully within the next 2 weeks it'll be out. No, I haven't played Suicide Squad, Kill Justice League. I don't really have any interest in it. I don't really care for looter shooters. But if you're playing it, I hope you enjoy it. Just because something's not quite my cup of tea doesn't mean I don't hope other people enjoy it. So, full transparency, I did play this before, but it was like years ago, and I don't remember much other than the main premise, which I guess we'll kind of go in when we start here. But basically, the idea of this game, it's not very long. It's about 2.5 hours. And you play this girl named Edith Finch. That's a little loud. Okay, I'm gonna lower that a little bit. Oh wait, no, I think it's okay. Alright, let me know if that's too loud. Anyway. So you play as a girl named Edith Finch, and your family... Basically, your family had a lot of bad luck. Your family was sort of like, quote-unquote, cursed. And most of your family, all your family, actually died. You're like the only... Alright, so we're going to lower it a little bit. I think it might just been that opening, though. So we'll see if we have to change it. So, basically... you come from a family that's sort of, they're known around town as being like a cursed family. Everyone died really young, like all the kids and all the grown-ups. And they kind of became like famous, like there was books about them and stuff. And you're the last remaining relative. So you go back to your old house and you kind of walk through your house and you learn like what happened to all your family members. See, now I think it might be too low. So the dialogue's kind of... I'm going to bring it up again. That opening was just loud. So, yeah, you play as Edith. And that's her old... the old wacky-looking thing back there. That's her old house.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Also, just giving you... a fair warning now, Edith has a case of doesn't shut the fuck up itis. She's one of those video game characters that narrates everything they think and do.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago.
Some people sound,
open immediately.
Some people sound, some don't really like that, but it sounds like the plot of a Final Destination movie. No, not really. It's just a family that ran into a lot of bad luck for different reasons. Also, you said you just finished Suicide Squad, gave it a 6 out of 10. That's good. I don't really... For me, I just don't love, I think, all the story choices they made, like from what I saw from like the leaks and stuff.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
But even other than that, I'm just not into like live service games.
Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
I guess we go up over here. Thank you, Jersey Devil. I don't think there's oh, is this blocked?
I haven't driven this way in a long time, but I saw some hoofprints.
I think either way we go, it just all leads to the house. So there's not much to the game in terms of like areas and stuff, but once you get in the house, that's essentially the whole game. You just go around learning about what happened to your ancestors, like not ancestors, but your like family.
I never thought I'd come back to it.
But it's the way how you learn what happened to them is interesting, and I think you'll see that later on. I really like this game, even though I don't remember a ton from it.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
So you can probably see already that the house itself is very odd. You know, it's got this weird, like, almost like it was made like Fortnite or something. And they kind of explain why that
as a child,
that happened.
The house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
So you can probably see already there's a missing persons poster for one of the Finches, Milton. So they give you little clues throughout of stuff that happens. You're already annoyed by the main character. Yeah, she narrates a lot.
I asked Edie once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband. I was 6. It seemed like an odd joke to me even then.
So you can kind of tell, but the game relies a lot on like
Now, as a
interactive,
I knew
like narration.
What those words were.
You know, it's not just the subtitles are like in the environment. It's not just in front of you. I think we have to find a key. I think we have the key, don't we? Okay. Everything's pretty much done with right trigger when you're on a controller.
It didn't.
You can take a little peek
I felt like
inside.
the house itself had been waiting for me.
So this game's kind of similar to Gone Home, if you've ever heard of it. It's just like Gone Home's another game where you play as like a female lead, and you go back to your old family home and you kind of like discover what happened. But I actually think this is like way better than Gone Home. So you can kind of see like different stuff throughout the house, like the backyard and stuff. Well, thanks for sharing out the.
Easier when I was 11.
Thanks for sharing out the stream, Josie Double. You can't take this seriously. The game's kind of goofy in some aspects, but when it actually gets down to it, it's interesting. Okay, so this is actually something to show you. So, you see all the names here and stuff. This is all the names of our family, like our mother, cousins, stuff like that. So we have to go around, and once we learn what happened to each member of our family, then this gets filled out. So if you look, Milton right there, 1992 to 2003, that's the one who went missing that we saw the posters there. So we kind of know what happened to him. I want to raise the brightness a little bit. I think that's all right. Every time she talks, I imagine she's talking to herself out loud. Yeah, I mean, this is not like in game, like it's No, the game that annoys me the most is I love the games too, but the game Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Forbidden Dawn, I love those games, but Aloy doesn't shut the fuck up. You know what game actually did like the character talks to themselves well? I like the game. I have a couple problems with it, but the game Days Gone, the zombie game, that actually does it well. Because in that case, it's your main character Deacon. He suffers from like mental health problems because of the zombie apocalypse, and he's always alone. So he talks to himself because it's the only voice he hears, and it's the only thing that keeps him sane. So if you look throughout the house, like what's cool is that it leaves like little Easter eggs for what you're gonna find. So you notice there's like a ridiculous amount of canned fish here. Well, there's a reason for that, and we're gonna see what that reason is later.
Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
So in loving memory, Lewis Finch. So that's another one who died. So that's Edith's brother. So our brother. Once. And then you have to sort of make out who the family is from pictures and stuff. So there's Dawn, Edith, Eddie, and Lewis. The plot feels like it could be a decent horror or crime movie. In a weird way, some people would argue it actually is a horror, just not in the way people think. There's a great video essay. This is one of my favorite YouTubers who did a video essay on this game called Joseph Anderson. He was kind of like
still a wreck from the night we left.
He was kind of one of the first. I don't think he was like exactly the first, but one of the first who did video essays about video games. And he did one about this game, and I think his analysis was very well.
Killing everyone but sparing.
It's a nice looking house. I would ask if this was a Finch named Atticus, but that's a different thing entirely.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it.
Yeah, Atticus
Like a
Finch has
smile with too many teeth.
different worries.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
I actually love To Kill a Mockingbird. It's one of my favorite books and movies. So there's some things... There's some puzzle stuff.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
So there's a little bit of puzzle solving, but not much yet. Once we get into it, you'll kind of see why the game
Surprised when the key didn't fit.
is cool, like why people like this game. Because once we start looking, see, like you might notice things here. One thing you'll notice off the bat is some of the rooms are like blocked off, like you literally can't go in them. I think we'll see that here. What's my favorite horror movie? Oh man, I'm a horror lover. I feel like my answer changes based on what day it is, or like what my mood is, but pretty consistently, I would say John Carpenter's The Thing is one of my favorites.
After Milton disappeared,
The Babadook is definitely up there.
then Edie retaliated and drove him to Blues.
The OG Halloween, Hereditary, I'd say is here. So this is Barbara.
Whenever people ask me about my family,
I think Barbara might be my
the first
favorite
thing
in
they
terms of
always
like
wanna know about is Barbara.
what happens when you find out what happened to her. But she used to be a child star, like back in the like the 40s and stuff. She was in this kind of mock Universal monster thing, I guess. My Friend Bigfoot. So a lot of books here too. I think there's like little Easter eggs if you look in the books as well, like little clues of what happened. Okay, I don't think we can go here yet.
Mom must have locked the third floor.
Yeah, you can't. There's some stuff you have to do in order. So, okay, I don't think we can go on Barbara's yet, but you can even see how it's weird. There's some stuff, like the rooms are locked off, and yet they have like the years they died. Like the rooms are almost tombs in a way. Mine's OG Halloween and the OG Alien movie. Those are pretty good choices. I actually like the sequels to Alien more than the first one itself, but it's still a good movie. I saw the last horror movie I watched recently. It was I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Teeth. That's a crazy fucking movie, but I thought it was really good. Wait, what's the last horror movie I watched? I don't remember. Scanners is my favorite. It's where the gif of the one dude's head exploding came from. I don't think I know that one. So this is Calvin.
My grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Oh yeah, I've been watching the Chucky series recently, but that's not really a horror movie. It's a series, but I've been liking it. So this is Gregory.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
It's weird Gregory's room is the bathroom. It's a little odd. And I believe these were, things were twins.
The last time I was in Edith Senior's room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Oh yeah, the sadness. The sadness was awesome. I loved that. But we watched Teeth more recently than the sadness, I thought. Let's see. So, where do we have to start here? The way this game look reminds me of Life is Strange. I could see that. A little bit of, like, writing kind of, too. I know there's, like, kind of little... No, wait. I don't want to do that. Yeah, the only button... You're really only two options for like... actually playing the game. You just move and interact. Really can't do much else. Oh, that's true. The most recent horror movie I watched was Bride of Chucky. That was a rewatch, though. That's true. Alright, I think we have to start back downstairs, maybe.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
It does seem like the start of this game seems almost like a horror, because everything's just kind of left like it looks like whoever left in a horror. It didn't take anything.
She never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Alright, so we just came from there. I don't think there's anything really to see here. We can't go in the garage yet. So it's one of those games where you kind of need to find clues on where to go next. Like I said, there's a little bit of puzzle solving, but it'll make a bit more sense. I think we already looked in there, right?
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Well, I like the Quiet Place movies. I actually really love the second one, the one with Cillian Murphy. Yeah, I thought John Krasinski did an amazing job on all of them. I'm looking forward to the new one. Things like, what is it, Quiet Place Day 1? Alright, so I don't think we can go back up here, right? No. Trying to see where it wants us to go first. Oh, here we go.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not feeling
So
that.
you can see kind of each room on their own has like different themes to it too. Like this one's got like a shark theme.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
I think we need a key for this. Oh, no, we have the key.
Turns out, my mom.
You know what movie I really want to watch?
Secrets.
I haven't checked out yet. Is
Now it was
The
time to find
Wailing.
out what my mom had been afraid of.
I've been wanting to check it out since I saw The Sadness, because it's kind of, I think it's another Taiwanese movie. Yeah, so right there you saw how we just opened that door because there's like those little hidden passages.
Reading this,
Well, there's more
maybe it sounds like
hidden
a happy
passages, and we just have to keep playing until we find them.
thing, but I had no idea what was behind that door.
So this is
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
this is Molly's room. So Molly was the little girl
I
who
grew
passed
up looking
away.
at Molly's room through the peephole.
So Molly was a little girl who died kind of by
Papa, since
accident
Edie
here.
had spent a lot of time here.
Yeah, she was
Before my
10.
Mom sealed the doors.
What's my horror movie hot take? I'd have to think about that for a second.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tiny.
me think about
gerbil
that.
Cage.
I feel like it's probably not a hot take, but I don't think the Terrifier movies are very good. I think like if a movie relies on like shock value to initiate like get a reaction, I don't really place it
I'll be gone soon.
in a very
But I
high
wanted to tell somebody
value.
about what
So
you
things
had.
like
It started when Mom
things
sent me
like
to bed without dinner.
Terrifier,
I woke up and I was starving. So I
Terrifier,
looked around for something to
like
eat.
Human Centipede, Hostel, like movies like that. I just don't really find very interesting. Molly's room is so pink that my inner 8-year-old self is jealous. OG Hills Have Eyes is boring as hell. I actually haven't seen the OG Hills Have Eyes, believe it or not. So, okay. Now we are playing as Molly. So this is basically the basis of the game is the way you discover what happened to each of your family members is you play through the last moments of their lives. But it's a little different every time you go through it. So I think you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So right now we're playing as Molly, and we got into a little bit of trouble at the dinner table. So our mom sent us to bed with no dinner, but we're very, very hungry. So we need to find something to eat.
My Halloween candy was all gone. Mom, can I come out now?
How boring jump scares are and how easily it is to tell where they are. At least with the first Saw, it wasn't graphically violent visually. It was more implied than anything. But you can see where Kramer was coming from. See, as much as I just said, like, I hate, like, shock value. And, like, admittedly, Saw has a lot of shock value. But Saw is, like, my guilty pleasure franchise. I love the Saw movies. What horror movie do you think needs a sequel?
The gerbil
Oh, that's a great question. Trying to think what. Actually, the one I just said, the movie I just mentioned, Teeth, I think that could have gotten a cool sequel. I don't think they did one.
I kept eating and eating.
So we're hungry because we got sent to our room with no dinner. So now we just keep eating things. What's going on, guys? What you playing? Also, how's your day been, man? Hope everything's well with your family. Yeah, everything's going all right. Thank you for asking. We're playing What Remains of Edith Finch. It's a story. It's a short, like 2.5 hour story game where you play as the last remaining survivor of a family that's hit a lot of misfortune,
I heard chirping outside my window.
and you go back to your old family house to kind of discover, relive what happened to all your family.
I reached out for her.
So here's where things get a little weird.
And suddenly,
So now we're a cat. So each death in this game is told from the perspective of the person who died. So this is like from Molly's perspective, as she believes she became a cat.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
So now we're chasing after the bird because we were hungry.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Those are our parents there who sent us to our room. What's my favorite horror game? Ooh, I feel like that's another one where it changes depending on where you ask me, what day you ask me. But I'd say probably either Dead Space, RE7. I really liked the second Evil Within. I thought that was really fun. I really love this game. It's semi-new. It's called Signalis. I guess Dead Space I'd say is my favorite. Ooh, I gotta find a good way to get up there. Oh, yours is OG, yeah, the OG Dead Space is great. I mean, the remake was good too. Can BioShock count as a horror game? I wouldn't say it's a horror game, but it has horror elements, definitely.
Big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say it's like a full-fledged horror.
All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was
I think I was talking about this the other day when I think I was talking about the RE4 remake. And I said that as much as I like the remake for RE4 and I like the remake for the first Dead Space, part of the OG games that make it so fun is kind of the janky controls. And I feel like you miss a part of that when you play like these remakes. Oh, so now we're a hawk. We're hunting after rabbits. So if you're squeamish, I'm sorry.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something.
Do you count the Predator franchise as a horror? I would say most of the movies no, but I think the first one, you can argue. I think it's the same thing with Alien. Really, the only first 2 Alien movies, I would say, are like horror movies, but like I would still say Alien Predator are definitely horror icons.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
I would say Predator's action-based horror. Yeah. This part's always funny as hell to me. So now we need to get back to water. What? What? Sorry, that's just funny.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
There we go. So I don't know if this detail was missed, but to kind of just explain again, we're playing as Molly, who was sent to her room because she misbehaved at dinner and she didn't get to eat dinner, so she was very hungry. And I think okay. Yeah, I think the controls are inverted. But so if you notice at first we were going around eating different things in our room, like toothpaste, our gerbil food and stuff like that. But the last thing she ate that was on her window was mistletoe. And you might not know this, but mistletoe is poisonous to... This is hard to control. Mistletoe is poisonous to humans to eat. And one of the side effects of eating mistletoe is sometimes it'll give you hallucinations. So the idea here is that Molly ate the mistletoe, and this is a hallucination she's having. So you relive the death of your family, but each way you relive it is different. This little fucker's hard to catch. Come here. It's so weird. It's like at 1 second it feels like the controls are inverted and then it's not. It's weird. Alright, where'd it go? Mistletoe's poisonous. It's like Olander, but pretty less pretty looking. Oh yeah, mistletoe is dangerous. So basically she took hallucinogenics. By accident, yeah. Alright, where'd the seal go? There he is. Come on. Ah, gotcha.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
So obviously this is Molly talking too. I guess we have to find him again. This reminds me of the game. This part in particular reminds me of the game Subnautica. If you ever played it, you crash land on a alien planet that's just a big ocean, and you have to try and like scavenge stuff.
Grabbed on tight.
You have to try and scavenge stuff to escape. Olander being a flower. It's so bad that Olander caterpillars are the only thing that can eat those flowers. And a birdie that caterpillar, the bird dies. Oh really? So now we are like a kraken, I guess. We're a little bit hungrier, so we need something bigger. So that bird ain't gonna do nothing for us. We need something a little bit bigger. So see, this is where the game is interesting, because it's through these moments of learning what happened to your family where the game changes up. Like, that's pretty cool, right? I think there's someone else on this we have to get. We gotta get the captain.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
And so you have to kind of move your tentacle up first, and then you can keep going. Now we got the captain left. I think that bird's telling us where we're supposed to go. Oh, wait. The door's right here. Oh, oh, oh.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new.
The soundtrack is haunting. The soundtrack is very good, and I think each member of the family has their own track, I'm pretty sure. Also, this part gets a little trippy. You'll see
The good
why.
smell went into an old pipe.
I'm getting out of toilet. It's like that movie, it was a Stephen King story, Dreamcatcher. So now we're back in our room. We gotta find something else to eat. You guys ever see Dreamcatcher? It was a Stephen King book. It's about these little aliens. They come out of like the toilet. It's like while you're shitting, they'll come up and like bite your ass.
All my stomach stirred.
Not one of his best. Not one of his best.
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be.
So now the monster that was Molly is now hiding under her bed. And that's it for Molly. So this is basically the main idea of what remains of Edith Finch. So see, now we have Molly. We have Molly Cross there. So the idea is she got misbehaved during dinner, got sent to her room without eating anything, was hungry. Then she ate the mistletoe, which killed her, and we were watching her last moments as she was hallucinating, thinking she was a cat, then a shark, then an octopus. So we have Barbara, Galvin, Eddie, Sam, Odin, Walter, Gregory, Gus, Dawn, Lewis, Milton, and that's us, Edith, right there. We're the youngest. So we have quite a few more members of our family. And then we have some other people like Sanjay, Kay, and Ingenberg. I don't think they're members of our family. They're like family friends. And Sven. So we got a couple more friends to get here. So after you complete each thing, each story here, more of the house opens up. So there is an order you have to do them.
Though,
But
when he adopted a stray kitten, she was.
so this is one of the cool things of this game is you can actually learn this early on. If you look down at your feet, you'll notice there's kind of an interesting detail with Edie. Notice how her stomach, she has a little bit of bump there, and her stomach kind of covers her feet. There's a reason for that. There's a reason she got a little bit of bump there.
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
This is our great grandmother's
When
room.
Edie told people Sven was.
I actually used to live with my
dragon,
great grandmother.
She could also
Little
have said
bit of
he
a
was
fun
building a
fact.
dragon-shaped sled.
She was like 90. I think she was 94
could
when she
have,
died.
but she didn't.
So this was her husband, Sven.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Yeah, so the Finches were kind of known in their little community as being sort of a very weird family. They're always in the paper a lot.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
And more people sort of caught on to how odd the family was and all the weird things that happened. There was like articles and books and movies and stuff like that. So it was a very sensationalized family.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
So we got some tapes here, some family tape. So My Friend Bigfoot is the movie that I believe, who was it? Barbara was in. And the rest of these are kind of family movies like Random Junk, Weird America, The Finches. So that was a TV program they were on. Then Conspiracy Now. That was a sort of conspiracy thing the Finches were featured on. Chapter 7, Edith interview. So you can kind of notice that Grandma Edith here seemed to really enjoy the publicity her family got.
Me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
If it wasn't for me explaining, you'd be very confused what's happening. Well, I think the point is you're kind of supposed to be confused at first because you're sort of learning the game. The point of the game is you're supposed to learn what happens to the family by kind of reading stuff and discovering. So if you can see here, this is like a little shrine to her husband Sven, who I think was the first of the Ediths to meet misfortune. He was building a big dragon in the back of their backyard, and I think it kind of collapsed on him. I'm going to look like a dumbass, but I think that's... God, I'm good with geography, too. Is that the Swedish flag? Or no. That's the... Is that Norway? Hello, spicy chicken. Oh, that's Norway. Okay. Sweden is like... Yeah, Sweden, I think, is like blue and yellow, isn't it?
The room is like a museum.
Also, I think we can learn about what happened to Odin. Yeah, Swedish is yellow and blue.
The Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their... Oh, okay, so that's our reading.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse. His wife, Ingrid,
You just had the weirdest stream ever?
son,
What was that?
Johan.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse. His wife, Ingberg, and their new son, Johan. So you can see, even from like all the way back, the Finches were known to be cursed.
On January 7th,
Denmark is just red and
1937,
white. Iceland is
he
the
set
color
sail
reverse
with
of the
his
Norwegian
family
flag.
and
Okay.
his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
I'm generally good with geography instead of there's just got a couple places I'm not very good at. So on January 7th, 1937, he sets sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. So this man literally took his house on a boat from Norway and came over to, I believe this game takes place in Washington State. So he tugged his house all the way from Norway to Washington State. I don't think it's possible,
40-foot
but
waves off the coast
I guess he
of
found a
Washington
way.
Send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Oh, so his house didn't even make it to the mainland. It got swept away in a storm. Oh, wait. I think I accidentally exited out of that. Okay. We're all
Odin's
done.
daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, stepped
So
ashore
Edie, I
in
believe, was the... So we're
Forks
Edie,
Island.
but we're Edie Jr. Edie, I believe, was the grandmother, the great-grandmother whose room we were just in. So they landed on the Orcas Island.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
To see the Nugler rebuilding a new house. And then I think that's it. So now we have Odin.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
This has been Vexology. I can't even say that. What the hell is Vexology? Also, Odin even wrote a book, I guess. The Mysteries of Death and Thereafter. Sorry, I popped out for a sec. I was finished up work. Oh, no, you're fine, man. Oh, Vexology's flag design. Okay. I was in a room of actors, and Christian Bale was there, and he was going to play a fat Batman, and he was going to fight Thanos. I would say it's definitely an interesting dream.
Lewis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Lewis was... Okay, Lewis died in 2010. Dawn in 2016. I'm trying to think, did it tell us what year, like, we're in? It's after 2016. I'm trying to think when this came out. So Dawn is I believe was the last one to die. I think Dawn's our mother, I believe. Because it's Edie, all the way at the bottom, 1970 to 2010. That was our great grandmother. Then it was Walter, Sam, Calvin, Barbara, Molly. Then our mother's Dawn, and I think our father is Gus. And then our siblings were Milton and Lewis. Shame Lewis couldn't see Batman vs. Infinity War. I'd pay to see that. Do you know how old she is? The tree said she's born in 1999. Yeah, I think... I mean, this must be after 2016 when Dawn died. This might be like 2017 maybe, or 2018, I guess, when this game takes place. Because Dawn was our mother. So now let's see. I think we can...
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
So I think that's us there. That's our mom. That's Edie. If someone is a 1999 Munchkin, you're going to have a fun time being 30 in 2099. 2029. Oh, I mean, I was born in 2000, so... It was a
pretty big trace.
I'm right around there, too. So I think this is... There's a Secret in the Bathroom by Sven and Edith Finch. Typically, if there's a secret in the bathroom, it's something that shouldn't be revealed to other people. Something you want to keep to yourself. So this is sort of one of those pop-up books. So I think those are the brothers, I believe.
It isn't in the cupboard.
Twins.
It's hidden in this book.
Yeah. I was born in 2000, so in 2029, I'm going to be 29.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Oh, I've actually developed film like this. I don't know if I've said this, but I actually went to school to learn, like, darkroom photography.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
The bathroom's where I keep my secret Pop-Tart stash. Oh, so yeah, these are the twin brothers. This is Sam and Calvin. This might be a bit of a hot take, but I don't really like Pop-Tarts very much at all. I think most of the Pop-Tarts I've tried are kind of pretty gross.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
There's like maybe like one or two I like.
He never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
This is Calvin, so 1950 to 1961, so he was 11 when he died. So a lot of the Finches died very young, as you can see.
How I Want to Remember My Brother.
They're okay at best. Yeah, I don't know. I am not into Pop-Tarts. I'm not even into Toaster Strudels, really. I think they're both kind of gross. So now we're playing Calvin. So we got our brother there with his old camera. We're swinging on our swing.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
I think it's very smart to be swinging on a swing with a broken foot, because when eventually you have to stop the swing, you got to dig your feet into the ground. Well, I guess that depends how hard you're swinging. Pop-Tarts are great when there's nothing else. Well, yeah, maybe if I was starving for like 3 weeks and I had some Pop-Tarts, then yeah, they'd be pretty good. No, like, typically, I don't get people who can, like, start their day with, like, donuts or Pop-Tarts or something. Like, if I start my day and for breakfast I have, like, a Pop-Tart or something, I'm just going to feel like shit for the rest of the day.
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
So you can see we're trying to gain momentum on the swing here. You can keep going a little bit higher. Oh, okay. Oh, I just realized it. So we actually control both feet. I was just doing the one. So you gotta do both feet. So both sticks do both feet. And whoop.
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
A sweet on the side is good. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, for me, like, if I'm gonna have a donut, I want it to be, like, on the side after I have some eggs or something. If I was gonna start my day, I want bacon, chocolate chip pancakes. Typically, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've had, like, the same breakfast for the last, like, 4 years.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up.
Well, it's either two things. Like, there's two things I'm ever gonna have for breakfast. It's either an omelet or oatmeal. There's nothing else I have. So,
I think he'd already made up his mind.
so little old Calvin here one day was playing by a swing set, and for some odd reason, the Finches built their swing set right off the side of a cliff. So Calvin went a little too high, let's just say. I'm guessing Jay likes to start his morning off with bacon. I don't like bacon. I don't like pork bacon. I like turkey bacon more. Oh, did you ever try to do this when you were a kid? You try to go all the way around on the swing set? I had scrambled eggs with tuna. That's interesting. I throw in sour cream, pepper, and hot sauce. I kind of do that if I'm making like a stir fry. I like to do tuna, some veggies.
The day he made up his mind to fly.
Yeah. So Calvin tried going all the way around the swing set, as many kids did, and ended up taking a bit of a plunge off the side. Turkey bacon slap. Yeah, I like turkey bacon. I mean, there's nothing wrong with regular bacon if it's on like a sandwich or something, but by itself, it's just too greasy to me.
I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
So now we got Calvin down, and we got... The story reminds me the story of Icarus. I'm actually not familiar with that. Not familiar with the story of Icarus. So you can see a good chunk of the Finches died before they were even, like, in their teens. See Molly and Calvin there. So now we got now we've got Sam here.
Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Well, Sam actually grew up, I believe, and died when he was a bit older.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Yeah, Sam went off to the army. This house got a lot of all the secret apartments, doesn't it? It's from Greek mythology. Yeah, I like Greek mythology, but I haven't really heard every story. Oh, Icarus is... Well, I know Icarus flew too close to the sun, right? He had the wax wings and flew too close to the sun.
The passages were a pretty tight fit.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't know like
hands and bellies.
a whole lot of details. Also, now this is Barbara's room. So Barbara was a little child star who couldn't quite keep up her fame when she got a little bit older.
Barbara as a child star.
It's kind of what I just said, but all right. Got her name on the Hollywood sign there.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Barbara's, I think, is one of the coolest as far as her story. So you can kind of see each Finch has their own like little shrine in their rooms. That's what their rooms are. They become shrines after they die. But Barbara's is cool. So Barbara starts out, and it's like one of those old, like, creepy or eerie horror comics, like back in the day.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death...
You know what's funny? I've actually been reading, like, recently I started reading some of the old creepy horror stories. I've written by, like, Archie Goodwin and stuff.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale.
Now the narrator changed. We got old Jack here, who's like Uncle Creepy from the old creepy ones. And so you got the old ad. This is actually, because I've been reading all, like, the old magazines. This looks exactly like it.
Barbara was famous for her scream.
I've been reading many horror comics lately. Yeah, I've been reading the OG stuff. The thing is, like, it's cool because of the history, but a lot of the old horror comics, they're very 50-50. Sometimes they'll be good, but other times it's like, it reminds me of, you know that meme people say with creepypastas? It's like the skeleton jumped out of the closet thing. That's kind of what some of those old horror comics were like.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's...
Comics weren't always about superheroes, thanks Frederick Mormon. Yeah, well, comics before heroes were very much about, like, horror. Like, the creepy and eerie were kind of pioneers in a way. Well, those were kind of more of the 60s, I guess, but...
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in
I say thanks in the context of the comics code, basically smithing the horror part of the comics. Oh, I got you. Oh, smiting the horror part. Yeah.
I'll be back in a sec.
So now you just saw over there from this comic, we actually learned where another key is. So you have to play through these to learn how to get through more of the house.
She reached for the music box.
Oh, see, this part's cool because now we're actually playing the comic.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick.
Now we have the key.
House was silent.
See, we're actually playing, like, the panel of the comic. This is why I say this is the coolest, because...
She found Rick's crutch and imagined
the Halloween theme. That one, like, copyrighted? I do like how this is in the format of a comic. Yeah, it's very cool. So now we have a weapon.
The leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
That was our boyfriend trying to get a good scream out of us. Yeah, so Barbara was an old child star who's trying to recapture her fame.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah!
Hookman, shouldn't he be stalking people in their cars, chilling?
This is a trick. You're dead, Walter.
Your uniform back there. Oh, you're good, Arkham Edits. No problem, man. Oh, so now we can see what the room looked like before.
Vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand.
So you might have noticed earlier in the game, when we reached the top of the stairs, there was a
Barbara turned.
one of the guardrails was broken and boarded back up. And, well, we're gonna be seeing why that was.
He was quite smashing.
So now we're locked in our brother's room.
Okay, Barbara. There's gotta be another way out of here.
Oh, well, we already know this. We gotta go through here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
I'm back in Molly's room. But I think this was before... Yeah, Molly's still alive at this point, because Barbara died way before Molly. Why wouldn't you not just go out the window? So you see, this is why the guardrail is gone. We tripped the killer over there. How did I first discover the game? Well, this has been out for a long time. I played it years and years ago. I think I just heard... I just heard about it. Oh, he's gone. I used to be into, like, a lot of kind of story games like this when I was in high school. Like, I was really big into, like, Life is Strange and stuff. So I think there's just something kind of like that I wanted to check out.
Dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering.
There's another game kind of like it too, called Gone Home, but honestly I think this is better than Gone Home.
Oh dear.
I love this part too because the art style is just like those old creepy and eerie comics. Well, this was after when some of them were colored, because typically a lot of the creepy and eerie comics were in black and white, but later on they did get color.
Saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized
Crypt Keeper, is that you? It's like, yeah, he's like the Crypt Keeper, or like Uncle Creepy.
Famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police...
It's so funny too, because the old like horror comics would always end like that too. They'd always end like that. With like the Crypt Keeper, Uncle Creepy telling like a really cheesy joke about the story.
But that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real
Oh, here it is.
eerie tale.
That's exactly how they'd end. That's legitimately how those comics would end. So, every time we experience the Finch's story, it's always like
Edie told me all
a very
Barbara wanted was to be
fantasized
as absurd
version.
as that
But
comic was. Maybe what
I'll let her
Edie
speak
saw was a
first.
happy ending.
It's so hard to talk when the main character won't shut the fuck up. So what happened there was, it wasn't literally monsters coming out and killing Barbara. There was a home invasion, and Barbara was murdered. And the only thing they found of her was her ear in the box. So it's actually very, really dark. But it's the game's way of sort of retelling these stories That's unique.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Have I read Marvel Ruins? Yeah, I've checked it out. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if you're being serious, but I've yeah, I checked out Marvel Ruins. It's a video on my channel. All right, so now we can go down, and if we use the music box again, we should get the key that we saw in the comic. Is that the Marvel story where everything goes wrong? Yes, that's the Marvel story where everything... It's sort of like the Murphy's Law, where anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I did a video about it on my channel a while ago. It was pretty successful. I think it's probably my most successful video after Arkham Asylum. Oh, yeah. No, I've actually covered Marvel Ruins Arkham Edits on my channel. It's up there. I did Arkham Asylum, Serious House and Serious Earth,
Was off limits,
Marvel Ruins.
unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
I did The Crow. I did recently. I did Batman. How was it? Darkest Night. Night Cries. Batman Night Cries. I forgot the name of the comic.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
And I'm currently working on another comic.
Maybe she was hiding presents.
Pretty popular Marvel comic. I won't say what character yet, but well, I'm working on 2 different videos. Last comic series you read was the Butcher in Paris series. Oh, I haven't checked that out. Technically, I'm working on 2 videos right now. So I'm working on an iceberg video that the script is basically done. I just have to do some finishing touches. And then tomorrow after I stream, I'm going to record it. And then I'm working on another pretty big Marvel comic.
If there's a pattern in all these stories.
So now we're going to discover what happened to Walter. So Walter lived down in the little basement of the Finch home. Is the game half over? No. The game's not long, though. We're probably about 1/3 the way through. Maybe like 1/4.
Goodbye, everyone.
I'm not going to guess what the comic is, worrying my guess would be received as a spoiler. Yeah, I mean, if you guess it, I just won't say anything, but I'll just, like, all I'm going to say is it's a big Marvel comic, so I'm not going to say anything else. Like, if someone guesses it, I'm not going to say if it's right or wrong. What the hell? How does this work? Oh, okay.
After a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for
I looked up the Butcher of Pears, and it just showed a picture of food rather than the comic.
I always expected.
Well, something on like comic. She was on like Comixology or something. Please don't be one more day. It's not. So Walter. Oh, how do we explain Walter? So Walter was kind of a recluse. If you don't know what a recluse means, it's someone who's terrified of the outside world. So Walter just lived in the basement because he was afraid of ever going up. So all the stuff like the peaches and stuff is all stuff they'd give to him because he wouldn't leave.
Just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone.
Oh, Penny, have you played this before?
Maybe you got tired of waiting.
So if you notice too, if you look at Walter's arms, and you can notice by the calendar too, but you know, as the years pass, his arms grow a little bit older because he was down here for a very long time. And you might remember,
it's been a week now.
Might remember, there was a, you heard of it before? Yeah, it's a fun game. I like it. But you might remember there was a comic, not a comic, there was a newspaper article in one of the rooms we saw earlier about a mole man who lives beneath the Edith residence. Well, that mole man is actually Walter. Because I think Walter, not many people knew of him. I don't think even some of the Finches knew he was down there. Like, he was kind of a mystery member of the family. Your speakers are all messed up, so it wouldn't be worth playing. Oh, okay.
It's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara.
Yeah. So
Molly.
So Barbara. So actually, the reason why why Walter is a recluse is because he believes in the curse of his family. So, Barbara, who's the person we just played, his sister, after she died, he became a recluse and just stayed in the basement, thinking to be able to escape the curse. But as we see right now, Walter kind of got fed up and decided to venture out one day.
I'm ready for it.
Do a video on Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. I haven't actually seen anything of that game. I've only seen like clips of it. Have you read Marvel Zombies or Deceased? I've read Deceased. It was a long time ago. I read Marvel Zombies because I thought about doing a video on it, but I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't like it. I just thought Marvel Zombies got boring after like the first issue or two.
I can already imagine the sun on my face.
So poor Walter stayed in the basement for all those years, and the day he decides he's gonna go out,
Walter died when I was 6.
and
I can't believe my mom
the
never
day he
told me
decided he was gonna go out, he gets hit by a train. So why couldn't Walter just go out the normal way?
My mom was trying to protect me.
I think they purposely. I think he was almost locked down here. Well, some of the Finches, like I think Edith just said, she didn't even know Walter was alive or like down here, so they didn't even know he was here. And you have to remember, he thought he was trying to run away from the curse. So I think he felt if he went back in the house, the curse would get him. So he thought that by escaping from the sort of cavern here, he'd be able to like outrun the curse.
I can only imagine what else.
I don't know about Marvel Zombies from the What If episode. Yeah, that episode isn't even that good.
The same mistakes she made.
Deadpool Kills Marvel Universe would be better than Zombies. I agree. I actually I think the Punisher Max would be better than Marvel Zombies as well. Marvel Zombies, like, it's cool because there's some imagery that's kind of cool, and the artwork is nice, and
I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself.
you know, there's some pretty dark moments. Like, the actual story itself and like the writing is just very bleh. Like, I couldn't bring myself to make a video on it. Not to mention, like, it's so dumb because they didn't do a direct sequel, because they leave the first series of the comics on a cliffhanger. So the train isn't even here anymore. So see, the train used to connect there, but the train tracks are gone.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Punisher Max cuts deep and Yankov at some points. Takes a lot to say that. Yeah, I think it would be interesting to look at one day. Is Spider-Man the main character in both series?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died.
Well, I don't think he's even the main character really in the first one. But no, what I was saying is, like, they left the first series on a cliffhanger, and then the sequel they did wasn't even a sequel to the first series. It was like its own thing. They didn't do a sequel to the main series for Marvel Ruins or Marvel Zombies until like years after. It's so weird. Recommended Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion HD renovation. I'll check it out. So we're gonna go back up. I think this is just a different entrance to the house.
As lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Just something over here too. No, I don't know why we went over here. Maybe we should go back up here. Craven's Last Hunt seems more fun to read than Marvel Zombies. I know it's comparing apples to oranges. Yeah, they're like not even remotely the same. They're not even... Yeah, I think Marvel Zombies spawned from an Ultimate Fantastic story for it. Yeah, it did. It did. It started from... there was like... they show you what happened. Because even Marvel Zombies, like, you kind of have to know what happens before then to understand. Because it kind of starts with Dr. Doom up in like his space station thing he had.
History of imagination and stubbornness and madness.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. Did you hear about the Max movie? They casted Channing Tatum, I'm assuming, in the Max role. Someone told me that they were doing a Max movie here in chat. So yeah, I did hear because someone told me.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Have you read any of the Spawn comics? Not real. I read a couple issues of Spawn Gunslinger, but not really.
It's embarrassing for me to admit
I surprisingly have no issue with changing as Max. I need to read Max.
More uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
So this is like a pet cemetery. No relation to Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. Lucy, Daisy, Charlie, Tucker, Coco, Zoe. So it's like I'm guessing those are dogs. And then I think these are gerbils. Zerpy, Lurpy, Furpy, Chirpy, Burpy, Derpy, and Derpy Jr. At least the Ash Evil Dead comics sound fun. I actually want to check that out.
But it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
So one thing like you can kind of notice here is that the Finches, even though they seem to be cursed, they almost have like an obsession with death. Like, how many families that have had this much death do you think would build their own cemetery in their own backyard? Probably not many. So even though you know a lot of them fear the curse, they almost like fetishize death almost. Like it's a rite of passage for them. I'm so hoping Tatum gets to play Gambit in Deadpool. I honestly think Channing Tatum as Gambit was one of like the best castings out of like the Fantastic, not Fantastic, the X-Men. So a cool thing you might notice there, we can look right here. Remember when Sven, the old guy from Sweden, was trying to carry his house on the boat all the way from Sweden to Washington State? Well, that's the old house right there. He barely made it to the shore and it got sunk. The curse was probably the obsession. You're getting there. You're getting there. Like I said, there's a really great YouTube video by Joseph Anderson, who's, I would say, maybe single-handedly my biggest inspiration for starting a YouTube channel. He's just a great content creator. And he made a video analyzing this game, and he did such a great job.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
So Sam was the little boy who died on the swing.
Her dad had been
and there's Gus, and there's Gregory Finch.
She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect
Milton,
us.
Lewis, they got a crown. And then Sanjay Kumar, who I believe was someone's boyfriend. So even if they're not direct members of the family,
so many things
I guess if they died with one of the Finches, they were considered part of the curse. An actual Tatum thing I would want to see. We do not speak of Magic Mike. I've never, I've never watched nor cared to watch Magic Mike. Say what you want. My wife made me watch the newest one. It was actually pretty interesting. Remember when I first started dating Scarlet Widow, I asked her, I was like, did you watch the Magic Mike movies? And she was like, no. She's like, nah, we're kind of into that. Well, into those kind of guys, I guess. do I have any comic suggestions? Ooh,
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
I think my whole channel's like comic suggestions. You know what I'm gonna suggest?
Pretty intense.
I read it a while ago, but it's a spin-off of the Crow comics. It's called... What's it called? The Man? Well, it was a Crow comic where the Crow was a... He didn't have a name. He was only called the Man, and he was actually a survivor of the Auschwitz death camp. Or, well, he died, and he came back as a Crow, and he comes back and kills some Nazi ass. So I'd recommend that if you're a fan of the OG Crow. I agree with this, but Showgirls was way more entertaining than Magic Mike. Yeah, Showgirls was pretty fun.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
I don't mind eye candy, but just like it when it gives me a sleazy vibe. Magic Mike just gives me a sleazy vibe. Dude, see, that's why I wish so badly the Crow could get some more serious work done. I actually would like to cover, I think, some other of the Crow stories later on. Because there's actually really good ones, just not many people know about them.
Dawn,
I don't think there is a curse. I think the Finches are just lack basic common sense for most things, and they delude themselves by fetishizing the memories of the deaths of their family. You might be onto something. So now this is...
strongly encouraged.
So that's Dawn. Dawn is actually our mother. So that's her when she was younger. And this is Sam, who was the other brother of the kid who fell off the swing. He's the one who lived.
Perfect.
And so this is his story of what happens to him.
Rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
Literally no sane person would move their boat house across the sea. Well, Sven was very determined.
This weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit.
Odin Finch National Park. So one of the Finches... So the Finches are pretty famous for where they're from. I mean, one of them even got a national park, so...
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
So now we're playing as Dawn, I believe.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Dude, that water looks like almost photorealistic. What am I taking a picture
I've
of?
drunk all that coffee.
Oh.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
Hey!
That's a weird thing for a daughter to take a picture of her father doing.
I'm just saying. I'm not always gonna be here.
Would you rather be
You need
haunted
to remember this stuff.
haunted by Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees? Oh, my mom, Jason,
You know who else thought he was gonna
100%.
be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious.
Yeah, no,
Doesn't mean
Jason,
what you
way,
understand.
because like
To tell you the
Jason,
truth,
Michael's an
I've
actual
been
like
years.
fucking competent person. Like Jason, as long as you're not a dumbass, usually you can kill him.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire.
I thought Jason was immortal.
Found an old
Well, yeah, after the
Here, everywhere.
well, that's after the
I bet if I could remember where that trail
That's
was, I'd
after
spot a buck
Jason-
in no time.
part 6, Jason Lives, where he becomes a zombie. Because in the first ones, he's just
Check
like
the map.
in the first ones, he's just a human.
Don't you think you could find
basically.
something more interesting to photograph?
Jason's a Deadite.
You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. Let's see.
What are we supposed to take a picture of?
Maybe. Was it? Could have been.
I don't know what it wants me to take a picture of. Aren't Deadites the enemies from the Evil Dead series? Deadites are... I took a picture of the rifle, though. Aren't Deadites? I thought, or no, maybe. What are the names of the, like, Pinhead, of the Pinhead demons from Hellraiser? I thought they were Deadites, too. Oh, no, there's something else, I think. Oh, no. I'm getting confused. Deadites are from Evil Dead. They were the Cenobites from, they were the Cenobites from Hellraiser. Yeah. Alright, there we go.
Let me get a picture of it.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target.
Yeah, because there's nothing could possibly go wrong taking your possibly cursed daughter out hunting.
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn!
Oh, I didn't know that. Cenobite is a member of a monastery? That's cool, actually. I didn't know that. Jesus. Such a fucked up picture.
I'm proud of you, Dawn.
In the Hellbound Heart, Pinhead was originally a lady. That's true, yeah. In Clive Barker's original, in his original short story, Pinhead was a woman.
Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Okay, so we have to set the timer and then go off. Okay, so not to be an old camera nerd, because this is going to be nerdy as shit, because I used to, in college, I studied film photography, but on the side, this isn't a thing anymore, because cameras do it automatically, but on the side, when it has the numbers there, it has 22 down to 0.12. That's called the light meter. Originally, with old cameras, now they do it automatically, but you had to adjust for light, and that little pin there, it was still automatic in a way, but that pin would tell you, it goes up and down, it actually tells you what setting, where to put your aperture, which controls how much light goes in through the eye of the camera. So it was still automatic in a way, but instead of like the pin showing you and you setting it, now it just does it kind of automatically. You don't even have to worry about lighting unless you're using a film camera, obviously. And then down there, where it goes from 1 to 1,000, that's actually the type of film the camera takes. They don't even make most of those anymore. Right now, the only film you can really get is like 250 to 500. Because, like, actually, I don't know if you know this, surprisingly, Canon and Canon and Polaroid actually stopped producing film cameras like a year or two ago. So that's how our grandpa died. It's very silly death in my opinion. But that was Sam.
Of all these stories.
Yeah, so Canon and Polaroid, they still made film cameras up until a couple years ago. They were still producing them. Well, I guess Sam didn't watch. Unfortunately, I don't think Sam watched that movie. Couldn't think of it. What is it? Double Tap. Zombieland. I don't think he watched Zombieland.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Yeah. You didn't watch Zombieland, so. Ooh. Okay, this one is really sad. This one is really, really sad. Yeah. This one's kind of rough. This was a little baby who died. Thoughts on the tragedy of Greek Kratos? Are you talking about like the actual legend of like Kratos from like real Greek mythology? Because I actually don't know much about it. This room always creeps me out. Yeah, this room is very, very scary. But so Gregory was a little baby. So this was Sam. So this is the guy who just died. This is a divorce paper.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Oh, I love the OG PS God of War games. I love God of War 3. It's my favorite God of War game. I think the story for the OG games is great. I love it. So right now we're playing as a little baby. Little baby Gregory in our little bathtub. Our little froggy. What do we do with Froggy? Oh, there we go. So we're actually controlling Froggy. It's a cool-ass toy. I wish I had that.
It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Yeah, I should. Thank you for reminding me, Allender. I should say, like I said, this one gets pretty morbid, so this is a content warning. I would say, if you can probably guess what's going to happen already, but
what his world was like.
By the way, I don't know if I said this, but this game won like tons of awards when it first came out. This part always made me keep a closer eye on my siblings. It's a very good lesson for people who have kids or little siblings. I think when this game came out, my brother was probably just about maybe 5 or something.
Whatever it was, he saw. It sure made him happy.
I love how artistically beautiful and tragic this game is. There's a reason why this game was loved by everyone. Like I said, like this, in my opinion, this is so much better than than Gone Home. There's also just this like, it's the way these scenes offset each other too, because this is such a morbid thing, yet it's shot in such a beautiful way with the music and imagery. Oh, we missed it.
is.
What's Gone Home? Gone Home is another game
I worry
like,
Dave
oh no, you're fine, man. Gone Home is a game where you play as a,
I could feel him slipping away.
you play as a
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you
woman
did everything you could.
who goes back to like her family home to discover
Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
what happened.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
So there's no really no way around this, unfortunately. But
I wish you could have told us about the world he
you know, I don't think you exactly have to be the greatest parent in the world to know that leaving your infant child in a bathtub by themselves is a horrible, horrible idea.
There's
So
much I don't understand
Gregory's parents weren't exactly
about Gregory.
paying attention
About everything.
when he was in the bathtub. So I think we can probably tell what happened. This is kind of similar to Molly's, I guess, because we're back underwater.
It's not your fault. I'm sure he's happy. He'd want you to be happy too.
So Gregory drowned in the bathtub,
Sam.
and it caused Sam and Kay to eventually get divorced. And that's really, I think that's a part of the game that definitely made a switch for me when I first played it, where I'm like, oh, this is different from other games. Like, this is a much different experience. So that was Gregory. There's still a couple more family members left, so we got raise flag duties. So I don't know who that's for. So let's see. Oh, we
I can't
have
imagine my mom
Gus.
writing poetry and yet.
Gus was a kid too. Many of the Finches died very
For
young.
Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard.
So Gus has got a little
Before the day my brother said the teenage
kite.
Gus
I've actually never
would
flown a
be
kite.
dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
So we've got a wedding at the Finch home. Little Gus is bored and wants to fly his kite.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
So
I tried to talk him out
you
of
have
it,
to fly
but
through
no, he
the
never
subtitles to
let
actually get him to read.
me. We don't need a stepmom or the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
They just got married. There's some more stuff here.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Gus is a little defiant.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Oh no, dude, don't apologize for that. I completely understand. That was a very rough scene.
The rain came down in buckets.
That reminds me of another game. I never played it, but I always want to check it out. It's about like these parents. I think it's about like cancer, and it's like a game about like these two young parents sort of grieving, losing a child. I don't remember the name of it, but it's kind of similar too.
Thunder sounded much too
Yeah, I
close.
don't apologize for that, man. That is
All
very,
my father
very
said
rough.
was, make the music louder.
So the day of the wedding, a storm came on, and Gus just wanted to stay out and fly his kite. I guess we can really start to pick up at this point that negligence is a big factor in the Finch tragedy.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until
Yeah,
we
but most
found-
straight up things don't affect me. Seen lots of messed up things on the streets. Never understand why the scene scares me. Well, I think it's the way it's presented. You're watching. Oh, what's up, Dozrod, man? Happy you can stop by. I think it's the way it's presented because you're watching really a baby lose his life because of the negligence of his parents, but you're seeing it through his perspective. What other piece of media could you possibly say that happens? Like, where else could you think of that? So we pretty much got most of the family down. We just need our mother, Lewis, and Milton. I guess Sanjay too, and then Sven we don't have either. We got a good chunk of the family left. Sorry, that's Gregory. That was Gus. So now, let's see. Can we get up there? Oh, okay. We just walk up
My
to
mom
it.
moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Yeah, Spicy Chicken's name is pretty good.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
I think Penny Alavaca has my favorite name in the in the whole chat. Although, so this is Dawn. So this is actually our mother. So is Sanjay? Sanjay might be our dad then. So she has a little
She
calendar
spent a summer
here.
building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad.
How you doing to the desk? I'm doing okay, man. Some unfortunate family stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, it's what can you do? It happens.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
I feel most of the stories in this game are altered by the great grandmother. That's a very good observation. If you remember, the great grandmother,
When my dad died,
her entire room had all the stuff about the Finches, all the TV programs and magazines and stuff, and she's the one who used to do the interviews.
I'm
So
sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Edie
The house had to
definitely
be a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
sort of fetishized the deaths a little bit. Thank you, Dozrod. I'm alright, man. It's life. So sometimes you get some
For a while,
bad
things were
news,
good.
just gotta keep moving.
Almost normal, but it didn't last.
So this was from Dawn. So if you see Edith, that's us. So the Finches were actually homeschooled. So that's us, Edith, and that's our siblings, Lewis and Milton. And Dawn, who was our mother, was also our teacher. So this is where we'd have our studies. You like Penny Alavaca? I do too. I do, especially with some chicken cutlets. This was my shit.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton
So Milton actually doesn't have a death date,
behind was
you
one
might
of
see.
the paintings.
Makes sense. House seems isolated. Yeah, well, they kept building up on the house. You see, it looks like almost like a tumor kind of growing out of the house. I think there's a reason for that. Okay, I have a problem with this next part of the game, and I'll kind of explain it as we go through it, but it's very silly, in my opinion. Oh, the house is far from civilization. Oh yeah, it's very isolated. Like you don't even. I think you could see some like lights. Yeah, like over there. There's like a kind of little village, but that's about it.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
All right, let me look something up because I want to make sure. Hold on. All right. So, has there been any horror movies that have scared you or made you uneasy? So, I'm pretty desensitized to horror movies now. I think back in the day, I used to get more scared by stuff. But now most stuff doesn't affect me. So Milton, if you know, had all the missing person posters outside. So Milton just went missing one day. And that's it. So here's the stupid thing with Milton. He's the only Finch
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
in this entire game that doesn't have like a logical explanation for what actually happened to them. And there's a reason why. The studio that made this game had a follow-up game they were working on called The Unfinished Swan. It's kind of similar to What Remains of Edith Finch. It's almost very the same thing, actually. It's not quite a sequel, but almost. And the stupid thing is, whereas the other Finches actually have logical deaths, Milton, supposedly, the only reason for his death was to tie it into the Unfinished Swan. And I think you kind of play as Milton, I guess, in that game. It's so silly to me, because, like, every other death in this game has been very, like, serious and actually has to deal with, like, real-life stuff. But then you tie in one of the children into, like, this fantasy world where he's in another one of your games. That seems very weird to me. I don't like that choice.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want.
It's just weird. Oh, but to go back to your question, whether, like, was there any movie that freaked me out? There was one I always give, and it's not a horror. It's not a fictional horror. It's actually a documentary. It's by Rodney Asher, who, if you're a big fan of The Shining, you might have heard of his movie Room 237, where it's a documentary talking about the many different theories about the movie The Shining.
Until got him a job at the cannery.
But
everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room, except Lewis.
It's a documentary about, basically, he interviews people who suffer from sleep paralysis. And more specifically, he interviews people that suffer from a type of sleep paralysis that gives you extreme hallucinations and very vivid nightmares. And he recreates their nightmares in the documentary. And the reason why it's freaky to me, it's called The Nightmare, yeah. It's on Shudder. But the reason why it's freaky to me is because I suffer from sleep paralysis, and I've had very vivid hallucinations and nightmares. And it's just the theories about, like, why it happens and the connected horrors that some people share is very scary. In fact, one of the inspirations Wes Craven had for Freddy Krueger came from stories he heard about sleep paralysis. In sleep paralysis, a very common thing is you see, like, shadow people, these shadowy figures. It's sort of like the outline of people, but they look like a giant. Oh, I didn't want to leave. They look like a giant shadow. Well, there's been a joined nightmare that people who have sleep paralysis have had, where there's these bunch of shadow people, but one of the shadow men wears a hat very similar to Freddy Krueger's. And they always say that when they see him, he's like the ringleader. He controls the other ones. Mind you, these are people that have never spoken to each other, that have never interacted, and don't have any clue about this. Yet they all have a shared delusion of this man in the hat. And that was one of the inspirations for Freddy Krueger. Dazra, to answer your question, I have played this before, but it was years ago, and I don't remember a lot. So, in my opinion, I think Lewis had one of the most tragic deaths, maybe other than Gregory, but I think his death was really tragic, and you'll see why.
I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble.
Speaking of disturbing documentaries, Dear Zachary. Zachary was the son of a murdered man, and the man's ex-girlfriend was portrayed in the murder. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out.
First noticed the monotony of his daily life.
So this is Lewis. Lewis has a pretty boring job at a fish packing plant, which is, remember earlier in the game we saw those cans for fish, and this is the reason why.
His mind began to wonder.
So the interesting thing about Lewis is you're actually playing two games at the same time. You're playing the game on the left with the left stick, and you're cutting the fish with the right stick. So Lewis likes to daydream. So this is Lewis's daydream as he's working.
He said he started.
It's hard to control, but you kind of get a feel for it.
Imagining
so you got to cut the fish, and then you got to control the guy in the labyrinth. There we go.
Feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
So Lewis is kind of daydreaming now. So Lewis never wanted like a 9 to 5. He always just wanted to do you know, sort of do his own thing, but his mother forced him to get a job at the fish packing plant. He's quite bored by it, so he has these little fantasies a lot.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
If you can give any fictional a good horror movie, what would it be? Wait, what was the question?
But he found something more.
I wish I can get the Hat Man. I just got some AI hot shit eating my arm. Lots of other things. So I've seen, like, the shadow people, but it was only once. And you know what's fucked me up? I didn't get delusions until I watched that documentary, and then I saw it. I remember I was laying in my room, and I started having sleep paralysis. And, like, it was one of those times where, like, I knew it was sleep paralysis, so I was kind of okay. I was just chilling. Like, I was like, okay, it's gonna pass. But then, in the corner of my room, up on my door, I had, like, my school jacket or whatever hung up, and the jacket kind of resembled, like, if you look at the shadow, it kind of resembled a person a little bit. And then fucking, I swear to God, the shadow started moving away from my jacket and closer to my bed. Dude, that was one of the most scared I've ever been.
On the edge of a city.
If I can give any fictional character a horror movie, what would it be?
He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
I don't know. Any fictional character or horror movie? I don't have to think about that. So you can see more of his daydream starting to take over. Starting to take over his work here. See, Lewis is daydreaming himself as a king going through his village.
Every day his imagination.
Mass psychosis. I mean, that's a theory. There's a lot of theories about sleep paralysis.
He no longer spoke at the cannery.
So, the thing you're hearing right now, the person talking, this was Lewis's therapist.
Then one day it struck him. And all the cheering crowds.
So the thing with this one is I think everyone can kind of relate to this. We've all had jobs at some point that we just hate and you just daydream all the time. I remember I used to work at a convenience store and I used to stock the shelves, and dude, I swear to God, when you start doing a thing where like you do something so much, you do it without thinking, and that would happen to me. Like I used to like stock the shelves without thinking. I just think about honestly starting a YouTube channel most of the time.
But his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
So now we're riding a boat. So this gets really
He'd conquer a city, then
complex.
push on.
I once had a dream of owning a church, but the congruence looked like the love of children for from Star Trek, and Bib Fortuna from Star Wars, and they joked about Ben Shapiro. That's a very interesting dream. I know what that's like. Yeah, I think if anyone's ever had like a boring 9-to-5 that they just did to make some extra money on the side, like when you're in high school or something, everyone can relate to this.
Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
So Lewis didn't even go home. He just keeps working at the cannery here.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a...
Oh, so now we can actually make some decisions. So let's say we heard rumors of a handsome queen. I like how it was beautiful prince and handsome queen. I've had sleep paralysis one time, and there was a man in my closet staring at me, and he was slowly come closer to the bed until it was on top of me and disappeared.
On her own quest for...
Yeah, man. Queen was on a quest for... Let's do... I want to do Sinister Serpents. Oh, wait, maybe I can go back this way. Oh.
Sinister Serpents.
There we go. My sleep I haven't had it in a while, but,
He followed the sound of
her silver harp.
Silver harp.
Was Lewis on meds or never on meds? He might have been on, like, antidepressants. I don't know. But you can see, like, when the daydream first started, it was a very tiny part, but now it's taken over almost the entire thing.
Even then, his logic remained sound.
And now you can't even see it, but you still know, because you did so much. You can take the fish and cut them over here. Take it.
But he was so proud of having created it.
Take it. Ooh. There we go. You see, sometimes you have to cut the fish to actually interact with the world.
For someone who'd never known
I think this might actually be my favorite, like, side game, I guess, in this entire thing. I say it's this. It's the one with Molly and Barbara. I like them all, honestly.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
So now we're actually playing as Lewis. So this is the only... I believe this is the only other first-person perspective where we're walking and it's not the house. Have you watched any Godzilla movies? So the only one I've kind of seen is Godzilla versus Kong, but I really, really want to watch Godzilla -1. Like I've been wanting to watch it for a while. I think this is Lewis's little locker here. That was the Chinese place that was in the Finch's house. I think he has a little kind of like a mock switch there, and he has we'll call that a peace pipe in his locker. That's a peace pipe. You smoke it and you feel
I
very
think it pained him to remember Lewis,
peaceful.
the cannery worker.
You know, and this is interesting too because it's one of those things where you ever like fantasize about something, but it's like the fantasy's kind of you. You like you make like a fictional version of yourself, and like sometimes it hurts going back. So this is like, I guess you can see this is Lewis here. Like this is sort of an out of body experience because the Lewis he made in his head isn't even the same person as Lewis. He's not even cutting. You notice how he's not even like actually holding fish. He's like grabbing onto nothing. He's so far in his like daydream.
I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson was in a Godzilla movie? I know that. In 2014. Was that the one with Bryan Cranston in it too? So now we're the fish on the conveyor belt.
The wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Look at that, there's Molly's cat there.
His queen waited.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I've never actually seen, other than the Kong one, I've never actually seen another Godzilla movie. I want to watch -1 though, because I keep hearing so many good things about it.
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
So, the thing that's really interesting to me about that one is how it subverts your expectation.
I wish you could have met
because you probably thought the whole time that what's going to happen was he was going to get too involved into his fantasy and he was going to accidentally cut his hand off. But that didn't happen. He actually took his own life because he was so in love with his fantasy world that he created that when he realized he couldn't live it and had to go back to packing fish, he couldn't do it. I think that's really well done in the way it subverted your expectation. You thought one thing was going to happen, but the reality was actually much more tragic. What's your favorite genre besides horror? Revenge. I love revenge movies, like Kill Bill, I Saw the Devil, Old Boy.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
So we only have one more family member left. We have our mom, Dawn.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
And this is her place right here.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
I think this was our old room here.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
And notice how Edith is tiny now. She's kind of on her hands and knees. Because this is the last time she was in this room, she was like a child.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
So now we're still Edith, but this is at a much
But Edie always had
different
some
time.
rules.
This was back
When my mom
when we were
said
still
the
living in the
library,
house.
I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
See, we're a little kid now.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could
So,
tell you.
some of you kind of picked up on it,
This
but
is about what happened on the
the
night.
great-grandma, Edith,
That night, the tide went
she
way out.
perpetuates a lot of the stuff here, with the curse and things like that. So she's a big catalyst for a lot of the events that happen. What's scarier, a xenomorph or a death angel? Xenomorph.
It was the first and
She
last
lost her husband coming over to a new country,
There'd been an earthquake.
and she was left with nothing but a house he built before he died.
The lowest
So
tide in 1,000 years.
I think
God, it smelled awful.
I think she you know,
Seen that house every
because of that,
day my life.
couldn't handle how her life was turning out. So instead of realizing that she just hit some tragedy or you know, some things might be her fault, she decided to
When the fog
believe in a curse, and she put it on the rest of her family too.
I got turned around.
I'm gonna try and find the old house through all the fog.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things
So a
came
real
back.
low tide let Edie go back to her whole childhood
Maybe
house.
I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
So we never really figure out what was in the old house that Edith was talking about, but
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Dawn was just very fed up with Edie and her
The next
perpetuating the
morning,
curse that she
grew
took
up, but she was already gone.
took herself and little Edie Jr.
After that, we moved around
away.
a lot.
Probably nothing, yeah. But
We
our
both
mom
tried
was
to
just very
get
fed up with everything and just let us out.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it.
The art style is very
But
beautiful
she
in
started
this
getting
game,
sick a lot.
I have to say.
She got better for
So
a
this is
while,
how our mother, Dawn,
and then she died.
passed. She got very sick and passed when she was in the hospital.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
I don't know if they ever said cancer or not.
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes
There's a little twist at the end here.
and appreciate how strange and
twist.
brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you, but now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
2017. So, you might have noticed that while we were playing the game earlier, Edith had a little bit of a belly bump. She was actually pregnant. And just like her mother, she got sick and passed away. And so the last living Finch wasn't Edith. It was actually her son, who, in the beginning of the game, was on the boat. So Edith Finch was writing it as she was giving birth. She said she was 22 weeks pregnant. Oh, I'm not sure. I wasn't really listening to that part. So it's interesting because they... I guess for the development of this game, they decided only to use like baby pictures of the developers. It's pretty unique. But okay, wait, that's interesting. The replay a story option is now available. Select Edith to play from the beginning. Oh, so okay, so you can actually replay each of the stories. You can play each of the stories here, but yeah, that's basically that's what remains of Edith Finch. I think it was a very fun game. I wanted to play it because I liked last week when we played Silent Hill: The Short Message. I liked playing something really short and just kind of different before moving on to Ghost of Tsushima again. So I knew this was kind of something we could check out. I'm not gonna do it every week, but every now and then I'm gonna do it just to shake things up. But I do like this game. You know, it's a very short experience, and I think, you know, it's a thing where once you experience it once, you're probably not going to play it again. But it's a very interesting story and makes you kind of think. Also, nice, this indie game has more replay chances and choices. Well, most indie games are way more replayable than most AAA games. Also, nice indie game. Nice little side game along with our main samurai dish. I agree. Maybe we can play Dead Space. Yeah, I'll play Dead Space eventually. Once we're done with Ghost of Tsushima, I'm gonna move on to Judgment and Lost Judgment, and I might move on to the Yakuza series. But yeah, I can definitely do Dead Space in the future. Dreadful. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for there. I don't got I don't get into any games that much. I usually don't, but there's a couple indie games that are really, really good. So I wonder, is there like a platinum here? Oh, there's a platinum. What do you have to do? Play Calvin's story again. Take a picture of the rabbit outside Odin Finch National Park. Replay a story after completing the game. Knock all the letters of Gregory's name in the bathtub. Clear all balls off the pool table. Let the drunken sailor finish his song. Take both paths to the house. Unlock all trophies. Yeah, this is PS5. Oh, so the replay story after completing the game. Do you guys want to see me try and beat... do you want to try and get a platinum, or do you want to just move on to Ghost of Tsushima? What do you guys want? Just want to say it's awesome. You got me into a routine. I usually sleep in on Saturdays. By C into the death notification. I'm out of bed ready for awesome stream. Oh, thanks, Dowsrod, man. I appreciate that. Ghost of Tsushima? Alright. Yeah, we'll do Ghost of Tsushima. Here's what I'm going to do, actually. Because each stream gets saved into a VOD, I'm actually going to shut off each stream. And then I'm going to start it up again. And we're going to do Ghost of Tsushima. So I'm going to end the stream. And then just wait like a minute and then refresh, and then the stream will be back up. It'll be Ghost of Tsushima. We all got that? We all good? Alright. So I'm gonna stop it here, and then we're gonna switch over.